Hello and welcome to another Thoughtful Dots tutorial. Today we are painting a 4-inch rock. This is a rock from my dad's shop, The Rock Shop Co. on Etsy. I have already painted this blue. I used DecoArt Americana Royal Navy, which is just like a dark blue. I did 2 coats. Figured we'd try something other than black today. And I'll just show you the colors that we'll be using. Victorian Blue, Peacock Teal, Turquoise Blue, Open Water. I usually try to get these in a more cohesive order. Yeah, doesn't really matter, but Victorian Blue, Open Water, Peacock Teal, and Turquoise Blue. And then you will want some type of metallic accent color. Trying to decide, I really like this Dream Drops Indigo Eclipse by Nuvo. I think that would be a really pretty, it's like a blue iridescent. But I also have Bliss Drops in Havasu, which is a glittery. Let me look and see. That would be pretty. This would be pretty too. Maybe I'll do both. I'm just a little nervous because this is running low, but really you just need any metallic accent. So if you wanted to do gold, you could do gold would be a pretty accent, or champagne gold, or a white pearl, just something metallic as an accent color. I am using this 16 segment stencil by Happy Dotting Company. And I'm just first going to do all of the vertical guide marks. Okay, we have all of our verticals, so now we're going to do the circular guide marks. So these stencils are great for small stones because they are, I think, silicone, so they're flexible. But for larger pieces, I have larger stencils, but my most used ones are 16 segments or 12 segments is what I typically use. What did I miss over here? I missed a vertical. There we go. So now we have all of our guide marks, and actually, you know what? I will use pots because I want to paint more than one in this color palette, so sorry about that. Use these paint pots. These are from Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to start with Peacock Teal. Victorian Blue. Open Water. And Turquoise Blue. Now you can leave these as is, or I'm grabbing a gray. I'm gonna use Zinc. We did this in our last tutorial. I add gray a lot to my color palettes just because I like how it tones down the colors, but obviously if you want something more bright, just don't add the gray. I also feel like by adding gray into each color, it just gives it more of a cohesive feel because it has that same gray undertone in each. But some people also like just a more vibrant palette, so definitely a personal preference. I'm pretty picky about the order that my paints go in the paint pots. And I wish I would have done this one, like swapped those two, just because it would be more cohesive, but that's okay. I'm going to number these. And then I will put my accent color. This one comes out very slow. I actually need to order some more of this. I love the fairy wings by Nuvo. They're so pretty. I think maybe I'll go in with some like top accents using this glitter once it's all finished. So I'm going to use that accent color. And I'm actually going to see, these rocks come with the center marked, but it's like a little bump. So I just scraped that off, but also smeared on my guide mark, sorry. Okay, so I'm using the 14. Was not thinking that one through. Oh yeah, that's so pretty on this background. So I'm just dipping into my paint again. I don't know if you can see how iridescent that is. It's so pretty. And then I'm just going to take a stylus and just swirl it out, make sure it's evenly distributed. Love that. Okay. I'm using the Thoughtful Dot stylus tools that have the millimeter size on them. All right, I'm going to start with the number 4 color. And the 1.5. So I'm loading up my tool pretty good with paint so that these are not super tiny. So we're just trying to get them all to be a consistent size. Mine are kind of getting bigger, so I need to make sure to to lighten up on the pressure so that they're not progressively getting bigger. Make this one a little bit bigger. That kind of messed it up, but do I want to fix it? I might. Actually, I want to be careful. I don't want to make it worse than it is, so. That's fine. We're not going to be nitpicky and we're going to leave it. So we're just going to do one row today, and then once that dries, I will do some little micro dots. We are going to be using rhinestones again. So I'm grabbing some putty. I'm actually making a bunch of rocks for my upcoming Thoughtful Dots art retreat that's gonna be held in Sedona in March. So I have 20 people attending, so I need to make 20 rocks by March. So this is perfect that I can record these for tutorials. I'm using blue. And I'm using this little putty, mounting putty. I use the Gorilla Glue mounting putty. I don't think I mentioned, but all tools are linked in the description of the video. And before we get into it, just a little promotion for myself and my business. I do teach beginner stuff here on YouTube, but I think about a year or maybe 2 years now, I really should know. I moved over to the Patreon platform and I teach weekly live classes over on Patreon. And sometimes we do smaller items, but usually we're focusing on larger mandalas. We do all kinds of things over on there right now. This week we're going to be painting on a journal, and we have a birth flower series going on. So all kinds of fun things. If you want something that's a little bit more advanced or larger mandalas, definitely check out my Patreon. There is a 7-day free trial, so you can log in, see what we're all up to, what classes we have. There's over 100 classes on Patreon now. So if you want to support me in that way, I would definitely appreciate it. I will link my Patreon link in the description of this video, as well as links to all of the tools used in this video. Okay, so I placed one rhinestone, and then we are going to be doing north, south, east, east to west. So I'm just going on the guide mark across. I just touched that wet paint by accident. Okay, next I'm taking the 2.5 stylus and my accent color. And I'm going to make a large dot right at the tip of our rhinestone. So we use the putty, the mounting putty, to put the rhinestones on temporarily, and then we paint our design around them. And then once it's dry, you can take the rhinestones off and varnish your piece. And then once it's dried after varnishing, then you can glue on the rhinestones. So the putty is just used to temporarily hold them in place. I'm gonna flip my tool over and use the 1.5 and my accent color again. And I'm just walking the dots down. So dot and then just walk the dots down until your paint runs out or you get to the bottom. Pretty. Okay, and then we're going to use some oval tools today. So let me see what size I want to use for this. These are from Lydia May at DecoArt Depot. Those are the oval tools that I use. And I'm going to use the size 3, the size 2, and the size 1. If you don't have oval tools, you can just use regular dotting tools. We're going to be doing pretty much this pattern right here. So if you don't have ovals, you can use a regular dotting rod and do a large dot and then 2 smaller ones on the side and then 1 more smaller dot. So I am starting with the size 3 and I'm going to use the number 2 color. And I am making an oval right at the tip. So right on that vertical guide mark. And then I'm wiping that tool off. Then I'm gonna go down to the number 2 tool and the number 1 color. And I'm going to make a smaller oval on both sides. So left side, right side. And then I'm going to take that size 1 and the number 4 color. And these ones are almost like upside down. They're going at a diagonal right in this little gap here. This pattern reminds me of like a headdress or a crown. Okay, and then let's take a 1.5 and that same number 4 color. And we are going to dot and drag down. dot and drag. Dot and drag. Okay, Thoughtful Dots 2/0 brush and the number 3 color. So I'm dipping my brush into my paint. And we are pretty much just outlining the petal shape that we made. Cute. And then we are going to do another rhinestone. So I'm grabbing a little more putty. And this is going to go right in between each petal on that vertical guide mark. But I'm leaving a little gap in between right in this area here because we're going to be doing some brush strokes going there. So we're going to do the same thing. Take our accent color and the 2.5. I need to clean these too. 2.5. And dot right at the tip. And then I'll actually just use that same tool. Walk the dots down. I'm just using a little bit less paint on my tool so that they're a little smaller. One more. And then we're grabbing a brush. We're gonna do some brush strokes, but first I just wanna test and see about how many I can fit here. So 1, 2, 3. So this brush stroke was the number 3 color, so I'm just gonna skip that one and we'll do number 2, number 1, and then number 4. So starting with the number 2 color and the 2/0 brush. These are going to be a little bit tricky to see, so let me do one. And it is kind of hard to see around that curve, so I lean so that I'm more eye level. But that is pretty much the swoosh that we're doing on both sides. So we will do that all the way around. And it definitely helps if you can kind of get down so you can see around that curve. And just go nice and slow with the brush strokes. And if you find these easier to do with a stylus tool, you can definitely use a stylus tool. Okay, so we have our first set of brush strokes. Next, we are going to the number 1 color. And I'm just using the same brush for all of these to keep it simple. These ones will be slightly shorter. So slightly shorter swoosh. Rinse my brush off. And now we'll go to the number 4 color. And these ones again are going to be slightly shorter. Just nice and slow. And then I think I'll squeeze one more little swoosh, but I'll show you how I did it on this one. See how there's that swoosh? It doesn't go all the way down because there's not enough room here. So it's just like right at the edge there. So I'm gonna do that same thing. So using that same 2/0 brush and my metallic accent color, which I just need to pour a little bit more in here. Don't run out on me now. So just a little swoosh, not going all the way down because there's not enough room. And I'm extending these ones out a little bit so that they're longer. So whereas we were going like shorter and shorter, these ones are a little bit longer. Super pretty. Okay, and then I'm trying to think if I want to do something here. I think I will do a swoosh. It's going to be hard to show you, but might actually want to hold this anyways at this point. So I'm going to do a swoosh from the tip of the petal down. So I'm going to use the metallic color. It's really hard to show this on camera, but basically just starting here and coming down. Can you see that? So I'm gonna put it back on my Lazy Susan. So starting here and dragging over. And then I think I'll do one more little swoosh, because why not? What color? Let's do the number 3 color and the 1.5. So I'm just going to do, there's this little gap right here. So starting at that pink swoosh and just going down into this little gap. And I think that is all we will do. And then I'm going to wait for this to dry, and then I do want to do some top swoosh accents. So adds a little bit more of the metallic and maybe some glitter. So we'll see. I'm going to, actually let's do our micro dots real quick. So I have this micro dotting tool and the metallic accent color. And I'm going to do a little micro dot, dipping it in the paint each time and just dotting in between each dot on that last row. Excuse me. Alrighty, we will let this dry and then we'll come back and finish off with some top swooshes. All right, this has had a little bit of time to dry, and now I want to add some top accents. This is what I love metallic or glittery accents for. So pretty much I'm taking my metallic accent color and my same 2/0 brush, and I'm going to do some top swooshes or brush strokes. And I'm just going right through the center of that previous brush stroke. And I don't want to cover the brush stroke completely. I just want to add a little top highlight. Just brightens it up a little bit and gives it some more dimension. So I'm just dipping in my paint each time, just getting a little bit on my brush. And I'm not going all the way to the tip, I'm just going until it runs out. So really just at the base of that brush stroke. Wow, see how that just really made it pop? And then I kind of want to do something on the top here. Maybe the glitter. So I'm going to use the Bliss drops. If you don't have these, you can use just more of your metallic. I'm going to grab the size 2 oval. And I'm just going right at the base. Actually, I'll do the 2 all the way around on that bigger oval. So pretty much a top dot. And then I need a smaller oval. So the 1, and just top dotting again. And the Bliss drops start out a little bit opaque. They're a little foggy, but when they dry, they will be like this. Nice and glittery. And then I want to add in a little bit more glitter. I'm going to, well, let's do one more top swoosh with the metallic accent color. So I'm doing our first brush stroke in this pattern. I'm doing a top brush stroke. Like this. So just again, just highlighting right through the center to brighten that dark brush stroke up a little bit. Oh my goodness. Is that necessary? That scared me. Okay, rinsing the brush off. And then I'm going to do the glitter. And I'm gonna go right over the light blue one to give a little sparkle. I want to do the glitter. I just want some on this oval too. So I'm just using the size 3 just to give a little top dot of glitter on that one too. Just felt a little left out. And then I think these rhinestones are pretty, but I have some darker blue ones. I just want to see real quick. These ones might actually look better because these ones kind of get a little bit lost. There's not a lot of contrast. So let me, where are my tweezers? If you guys could see my desk, it's always such a mess. This is probably not ideal to do right now while all of this paint is wet. But I'm impatient. So this is like a deeper blue, more kind of sapphire. That's why I like the putty first, because you can, oh yeah, I think that looks a lot better than these ones. It gives it more contrast and it matches the background. Yay, okay, I like these ones more. So once this is dry, I will take these off and replace them with the sapphire ones. And I don't think I mentioned, but rhinestones, these ones are in my Etsy shop. I will link them in the description of the video. I'm gonna let this dry and then I'm gonna show you guys how it looks in the sun so you can see all that beautiful glitter. So I swapped out the rhinestones for the sapphire color ones and it looks so beautiful, so sparkly. You can see all those Bliss drops glitter now. I love it. So this still needs to dry for a while and then I will take the rhinestones off and I will varnish this probably using DecoArt Triple Thick. And I typically do 2 layers of that, but it just makes it super glossy. I can show you, this is one from the last tutorial we did. So this is it finished, so you can see that triple thick gloss varnish is really shiny. So yeah, for this one, I still need to let it dry. Then I will take the rhinestones off, wipe the guide marks off, varnish, and then glue the rhinestones on. All right, turned out so good. I hope you guys love this and we will see you next time.